In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the tie rod adjustment sleeve on this Dodge Ram 2500. Not to be confused with the ones on the Draglink, that one is smaller. After this job, you will need an alignment, so let's get started. You can do this job two different ways. Loosen these bolts and spin this sleeve until you expand all of this and basically remove it. Or you can do what I'm going to do and remove this tie rod. I find this to be easier, especially when things are rusted like this, because it's not going to want to spin very easily. And removing this tie rod from the knuckle gives you one end of, well, completely free space to work here. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Use a 24mm socket and remove all 8 of your lug nuts. If your vehicle has a cover here, well, you're going to want to pull that off first. Mine does not, so I'm just going to remove all these and then take the wheel off. Remove your cotter pin. There we go. Use a 21mm socket, remove the castle nut off of the stud. Leave it on a few threads so that when you tap the knuckle or the tie rod for this to come out, it doesn't go flying down. You can either, like I said, hit the knuckle or hit the tie rod from the top, make this mounting nut flush so that you don't damage the threads, or you could use a tie rod separator and take it out that way. Take the nut off. Take the tie rod out. Use a 15mm socket to loosen up the 2 mounting nuts that hold these clamps on for the sleeve. There we go. I'm going to use a pipe wrench to grab onto the tie rod and a pry bar to hold the sleeve in place. Spin this, count the amount of turns that it takes to remove it so that when we put it back, it's going to be close to a good alignment. You still need an alignment after this, but this will get you close. If you want to, you can hang your tie rod with a bungee cord to make things easier. "26 for me, remove the tie rod. Now to remove the sleeve, you are going to have to spin it clockwise to take it off of here. It's reverse threaded, and hopefully yours isn't too difficult to take off. Mine is fairly rusty and it's kind of stuck here. Also, count the turns that it took on this to take it off, or you can mark it here like I did with a yellow crayon. Regardless of what you do, you want to make sure you get it close to how it was before. There it is. Clean up these threads. Mine are in good condition. So spray some anti-seize on these threads. This should prevent rust from building up in the future. I'm also going to spray some on the inside of the sleeve here. Putting the sleeve on, you'll notice that on one side it has a stamp that reads L. L is for left-handed thread. So that will go on this side. You cannot put it backwards because this side is threaded the other way, regular thread. Having said that, turn it counterclockwise to thread it on. And of course, count the amount of turns so that you can get it close. I have my mark here. Like I said, you need an alignment no matter what, but try to get it close. Okay, this was it for me right here. I'm going to bring the split on the tie rod, or on the adjusting sleeve on the bottom, as well as the clamps. That way any water that gets in here can run down and basically flush all the dirt out. Let's get the outer tie rod in, put some anti-seize on these threads, as well as in here, if you haven't already. This is regular thread, not reverse thread, so turn it clockwise to spin it in here, and of course count the turns so that you get close to a good alignment. That's it for me right here. Now I'm going to put the tie rod in the knuckle. That way this ball joint in here can be at a perfect 90-degree angle. If it's tilted one way or the other, that'll put excessive wear on the boot and on the joint itself. So turn the steering knuckle, have the mounting nut ready, stick this through, slide this on. Now it'll be secured. Make sure that on both ends the tie rod is sitting nice and level, which it is for me. 21mm socket, tighten this up. 40 foot-pounds plus an additional 90 degrees, that's a quarter turn, is the torque for this mounting nut. That's 40, a quarter turn. That's an eighth, we'll do another eighth. That's it right there. This particular style does not have a cotter pin going through it. It has a locking nut. If yours has a cotter pin, install that. And if you have a castle nut that does not line up, continue tightening. Never loosen to get it to line up. 15mm socket on these. Make sure the split is still at the bottom and clamps are still facing the right way. Tighten these up. Make sure it stays centered. You have a little indentation here and a notch that has to all line up. .45 foot-pounds is the torque for these two mounting nuts. That's one. That's two. Double check them. And let's get the wheel on. Press it on all the way. Install all 8 of your lug nuts in a cross pattern, bottom them out, and then also in a cross pattern, torque them to 140 foot-pounds. Let's torque these lug nuts to 140 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. Double check them if you want. At this point, if your wheel had the lug nut cover, snap it back on. It just clips on. If not, there you have it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.